sometimes and not have to be the player.
Well, I'll tell you how one time I didn't, right? It's a Halloween night, and we, sort of the end of the night, we opened early and we were closing late, so it's a long night. And the exit doors beside the front doors, I noticed like sometimes people pee or they vomit. If they do on any of our neighbors' doorways for the businesses, we gotta clean it up or whatever. So I walk up to this guy and he's pissing in the corner, and it's the club. It's right beside the club. Like he's maybe 10 feet away from the door, and usually we're really patient with, oh, excuse me, do you realize that you're peeing on our club, kind of thing, right? And I kind of pissed, and so I wanted him to piss on himself. Kind of don't want him to piss, so I shove him. I try to like push him into his own mess, right? And it doesn't, you know, whatever. He kind of turns around. I'm like, dude, you can't pee here, right? And he's kind of like a young guy. What do you mean I can't pee? I was like, dude, there's bathrooms inside. There's an alley right. He's like, there's no alley to pee. And I said, there's an alley right here. If you look around the other side of the corner, and he looks and he's like, that's too far. You know, it's like, but dude, you're pissing on like the club, and you wanna come back in here, because that's not a good look if you want to come back in for you to be doing that when we gotta clean. Trying to explain to this idiot, because we made him stupid. We say alcohol causes autism, so we deal with a lot of autistic people, and he has a problem with me because now I shoved him, and I have a problem with him because he peed on the club, right? So I was like, you can't do this. I'm mad at him. He's getting mad at me. He said, why don't you hit me then? And he's just like a nerd. He's just like a dork. He's dressed up like sort of greaser style, and I'm like, I'm not gonna hit you. Well, yeah, you can't hit me. No, I'm not gonna hit you because I wouldn't hit a clown, right? I wouldn't. You're nothing. I wouldn't beat you up if you're nothing. And I'm like, well, you can't because it's your job. It's your job. You can't hit me. So I'm kind of mad at him, and so I call the manager down and say, Mitch, I got fucking James Dean down here pissing on the door, right? With like any bodily fluids or graffiti or whatever we're sensitive about that kind of stuff in or outside of the club. So the manager comes down. Me and this guy don't have a good rapport right away because I shoved him into his pee. And so Mitch comes down and he says, okay, what happened? I'm like, yo, this guy, James Dean here is peeing on the thing. Well, I'm not James Dean. I was like, I don't care, right? So I leave Mitch to deal with him. And I go back up towards the front door, and Mitch is talking to him about whatever he's talking, smoothing things over, right? And these two young girls are gonna go have a cigarette in the doorway, right where the guy's peed. And I want to punish him, even though I can't really, it's not in my job description to punish him. And I say, hey girls, don't pee right there. Don't smoke there. You can't smoke there. You shouldn't, because that guy just peed. And this one girl, like I wouldn't expect, she's like, what? She's not even smoking. She's like, maybe she heard it. She's like, what? I got peed on last weekend. And she goes and she kicks him in the butt, right? And this is sort of after Mitch has sort of squashed it. So he kicks him in the butt. So Mitch comes to me, he's like, yo, that girl now just kicked that guy. So you gotta go tell that girl that she can't kick him. I was like, okay. So I go up and say, oh, I know he's an idiot. You can't really kick him because it makes a problem for us if we have like a little scrap out here or whatever. And I guess he's cooled down. He's talked to the manager, Mitch, and he's cooled it down a little bit. And so the guy comes up to me after being so rude, right? And he comes up to me, he's like, hey man, I'm sorry about that, man. I'm sorry I'm talking to you like that. It's not nice to me or whatever. And I said, with my manners back on, I said, that's okay, man. Hey, you know what? Don't worry about that, because if I see you outside, if I see you on the bus or the train, I'm gonna beat you up. What train? I don't know, SkyTrain, doesn't matter to me. And he's like, oh, fuck you, man. Fuck, what the fuck? I'm like, no, that's what I'm gonna do. And I go back up, and Mitch is like, hey, what happened? That guy was all cooled off. And his friends are like, yo, well, he said he was gonna beat him up. And so Mitch comes to me and says, hey, did you just tell that guy you would beat him up if you saw him on the train or the bus? And I said, yeah. He said, go inside.